Hello there. Happy New Year. We have finally made it to 2024, so I'm excited to be here today. And at the beginning of the year, there's usually a lot of folks who have a couple of things on their mind. It's like we are thinking about a lot of times our health. It's like, how can I get more fit, lose a few pounds, etc. And on the other side, we're thinking about our wealth. It's like, what do we need to do to, kind of make this the best year ever, for our finances, for our career, to make things smoother and all of that. And we are going to jump right into the finance part and talk about debt because it is rising a bit in our country, and it is something that's on our mind. Like, how do we get out of debt this year? So I want to welcome you. It's like, my name is Mickey Wright, and I am a business growth strategist, and I help female entrepreneurs to be able to scale their business, accelerate their profits in 90 days or less. And I'm excited to be here with a special guest. She's actually written a fabulous book called The Debt Detox, and I'm messing up my camera there. Sorry about that. But one of the things that we will talk about is how to say goodbye to some of the stress around debt. And she's going to share 5 habits that will help you make a huge difference this year. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. And her name is Kimberly Winborne. Hi, Kimberly. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Hello.
Hi there. Welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm so excited. We are here today to talk about some debt, and it's something you know a little bit about. It's like, I'm just going to do a little sneak preview, but it's like, she has written a fabulous book called The Debt Detox, and we are going to be talking about some of the things from that. But before we do, it's like, I want to, just let our viewers know a little bit about you. And I know you have a background similar to mine as a hairstylist. So tell us about that and how you got into becoming a financial consultant.
Absolutely. So I was trying to share, but it's not letting me. So I'll try again in a few minutes. But thank you again, Mickey, for having me. I'm excited to be here. Yes, I started my first business in 2002 as a hairstylist. And I always wanted to be a hairstylist as a little girl. I wanted to be a business owner, and I have a history in my family of barbers and stylists. And then there was Madam C.J. Walker, who was someone who I really looked up to, who not only made an impact as a result of being in our industry, but also I'm back, but also
Yeah.
was able to impact her community and create jobs and create opportunities and educate and empower others in her community. And so that is a component of why I got into financial literacy. Someone like her who really took this particular foundation and was able to do so much more with it. And I remember when I realized that she was somebody who I looked up to. I'd already been doing the work, and I was like, that's exactly why I do what I do. And to a certain degree, I want to be able to impact community. I want to be able to help more people, especially minority, especially women, because my mother was a single mother of 3, and she really truly inspired me to be able to say, "Look, how can I help other single women to do more and be more, especially for their children?" And so that's how I got into financial literacy, financial consulting, credit repair, and ultimately helping people to lead a lifestyle where they're not consumed by debt, but debt, they have control over it and they become the masters instead of the slave.
Wow. Well, that's really powerful, just to hear, Madam CJ Walker's example.
Hmm.
A lot of us aspire. It's like, oh, I want to be a millionaire like she was. But,
Yeah.
it was much more than that. It was about building community. It was about building connection, empowering women to be able to earn their own money and all of that, which was phenomenal, especially at that point. But it's like we still face a lot of these challenges today. So, One of the things I want to do right now is just take a moment and welcome our viewers. So thank you for taking time out of your day to join us live. If you would like to ask questions or add comments, say hello or anything, it's like you can throw that into the comment section and we'll be able to see it. It's like we are on StreamYard. And at the bottom of this post, there should be something that says, if you want us to be able to see your name, just let us know. You don't have to, but it makes it easier so we can say hi. So, Kimberly, with that, tell me about taking time to write this book, because that is a big undertaking. That is not, something that's like, oh, I want to help the community, I want to empower people, but it takes a lot to put this all together. So what was the seed that had you take that time? Uh-oh, you're muted.
Oh yeah, I did mute. I'm sorry, so I wouldn't disturb you as I was over here clicking away trying to share. Sorry about that. So the book actually developed from a program, the Debt Detox, that I had started in about 2016. I really started it in 2015, but launched it in 2016. I started a group, the Debt Detox, on Facebook, and from that January 1st to January 30th, we would have intentional things that we would do in the group, and I would give them a principle and then like some sort of an intention daily. And, so for 30 days, they would do that. And then there would be like a reset towards financial success. And then there would be like check ins and all of that in the group. And from that, I continued to do that more so annually at that time. I wasn't doing it like regularly, and I was more so full time in life insurance as an agent, and also a health insurance agent. So this was just sort of like a give back and an opportunity to also gain exposure, and understanding of what people needed and all of that. And so anyway, from that, it developed into an annual thing. Then I began to get asked to come and speak, and then I was coaching people more so one on one and couples and all of that. And so when COVID happened, I had already started working on the concept of doing a journal, because we would build out a journal in the group settings, in the what do you call, cohorts. And so I said, you know what, I could help more people. And that was from inspiration. I had gone to this power networking conference, and this girl was like, are you an author? And I was like, no. And I really, at that time, didn't necessarily have a desire to sit down and write anything. I thought that was something I would do, like, years and years from now, as I was retired or something. And so she asked me about that, and that got my wheels turning. Just later, you know how sometimes somebody says something to you and you say, well, what would I write about? What would it be? And then I was like, you know what? The Debt Detox could be a book so that it could reach more people. And we just focus on the 30 days. And so this is the first installation. It's the basics. It's the how can I learn how to be an advocate for myself? How can I gain a bit of credit literacy? How can I understand how to budget and save, and the impact that will have on me long term? How can I begin to think about generational wealth and what I would leave for my community and my family? How can I get from stuck, especially in a place of emotional insecurity that impacts my finances? And so these are all the things that I learned along the way, and I developed the book. So it started off as a program, and like I said, and it became an experiential learning sort of, coupling, and then also my education. And when COVID happened, I sat down and I put it together and developed the book.
Wow. Well, congratulations. It's like I said,
Thank
it
you.
takes a lot to do that.
Thank you.
And one of the things that I like about it is what you were describing. It's like, it's 30 days of kind of building new habits. And
Yeah.
what impact have you seen that have for people, like who've actually gone through it live with you and who've
Yeah.
read the book and taken the steps?
Well, it's actually built one of the best things that I could have ever imagined to happen. And it's not even necessarily financial. I am a community lover. I'm a connector. I love people and I love people's stories. And so what that has done is provided confidence for the
Mm,
people that I've worked with to move forward in other areas in life because they have this solid confidence in their finances. But because there's a personal development component to it all, it also has helped people to understand their mindset. That's a big focus of the debt detox, and we're going into the second one now, which is going to be a lot, thicker, looking to get that more at the college level and all of
mm,
that. And so that focus on the cognitive dissonance that affects our financial behavior, the static, that's been the biggest thing that has come from it. People realizing, like, man, I do have some horrible money habits that trace back to this particular experience or this that I saw or didn't see in my household. And how can I change that so that I don't put that into my children, and I can do something different? Or even if they don't have children, how can I change that for myself so I can have more money to retire on, or just whatever the habit becomes? So
mhm,
that's the biggest thing. But then when it comes specifically to finances, people have gotten that budget together, which I say is your best boo, your best friend. It's like your GPS and your guide, and one of the best things that you could give yourself, that certainty where you are the master of your finances. And from there, they've been able to save. They've been able to, as a result, travel. They've been able to send their kids to college, pay
mm.
off debts, get houses, start businesses. So those are the things that I'm really excited about, and even overseas. So
Mm.
even overseas, yeah. So those are the wins.
Yeah, well, that's phenomenal. It's like you said so much. It's like there's a lot to unpack there. But you
Oh,
talked about from the emotional standpoint and the mindset, and those are issues that I really, really am connected to. It's like it's part
mhm.
of why I started. This is called Your Pricing Matters, in terms of my
Yeah,
podcast, because we have so many areas that we think one way, but it doesn't necessarily translate into reality.
yeah,
And there was a story I've heard and I share sometimes with a family. The wife is making a holiday dinner, like we've just passed the holidays, and it's like she cuts off the ends of the ham. And her husband asked her, like, why do you do that every year? And she's like, well, my mom did. So, when mom comes over, they ask her, why did you do that? And
yeah.
how did, it's like, well, my mom did it.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why I did that. And so then grandma comes over and they ask her, it's like, well, why did you do that? It's like,
Mhm.
well, when you were growing up, it's like this pan we had, it didn't hold
It
the
did.
whole ham. You had to cut off the ends to make it fit. And so
Yeah.
generations later, we're still doing the same thing,
Yeah.
just out of this is all we know. And so how does the book help us with that? How do the thoughts that you have around debt and how we can detox, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
with that, that we've just been passed down things that we don't even realize we've been passed down.
Yeah, that's the whole mindset, coaching and mentoring part of it, as well as how the habits are created. So one of the first things we do when we start in the book and the program is we talk about financial reconciliations. So I give stats and facts and data, of where Americans are today, where women in America are today financially, where minorities are today in America financially, and then we go into that global conversation. And even in the book, there are some stats and some facts and data, as to the scenario, the full landscape here in America financially. So I'm giving people the data so they're understanding that they are not alone. And when you understand, like, you're not alone, it helps you to realize, like, okay, I can do something different because somebody else did something different. And I always let people help people understand that I've gone through some financial stuff too to get where I am. And I continue to learn and grow. So we start with the facts and the data, but then we got to go into the healing, the financial reconciliation, because we've all made mistakes, and we've made mistakes based on what you just said, information that got passed down that was incorrect. Same thing happens in our health. A lot of times, people say, well, I have diabetes because my mom and those guys had diabetes, we understand that a lot of things are related to our lifestyle as opposed to our actual DNA. And
Mm,
so that's the same thing with our financial DNA. A lot of things are related to our lifestyle and habits that
mm,
we've been taught, which is consumerism, which is a mindset that get passed down. And then therefore, especially in today's economy, and this is not just a minority thing, a female thing, this is an American thing. Debt
mhm,
is king. Like everybody's financing everything. We are financing our lives. And like gone are the days when you actually save up to buy a car, for instance, or save
mm,
up to buy that new couch, or, whatever it is. You can finance everything. And so what I like to do is prepare people with credit literacy, because I understand of you got to understand the times. So once you can understand from whence you
mhm,
have come, how you got there, which is when we talk about mindsets and habits and
mhm,
how those developed and all of that, then you can understand and put a face on what habit, what lifestyle, what mindset you want to live out, and then move forward from there. And understanding debt and credit is a big part of that. And so that's why the credit literacy is huge,
mm,
because you can use debt. Like detoxing debt is not about not using debt. It's about
mhm,
detoxing the financial habits, the poor habits that have held us back. So now our credit scores are the lowest they could possibly be. You're always trying to get up over the fence, out of the muck and miry. And so it's about getting the right habits when it comes to our credit and our debt. What's good debt versus bad debt, so that you can move forward. So,
yeah, definitely powerful. Now, when you talk about the credit literacy, tell us more about that. What does that actually mean, when
mhm.
as you're saying it?
So I'm a big advocate for DIY, doing it yourself credit, even
Okay.
repair.
Mhm,
I've been a credit repair specialist, and I had a whole company committed and dedicated to credit repair. It is not my favorite thing at all, which is why I began to focus more on credit literacy in my coaching. I have all the letters that you send to the agencies and everything. However, like I said, if I could teach you, what is the saying? If you could teach somebody how to fish, then okay. But what if you teach them how to build the pond or even acquire the pond? And
mhm,
so that's what it's about. Like teaching people, yes, you can fish, you can learn to fish, which, and that's you can get somebody else to fish for you. But if you own the pond, if you own your life, if you own your habits, if you own the mindset necessary to move forward, then credit can become an asset, as opposed to, in from a mindset perspective, as
mhm,
opposed to a liability. You can actually build business using credit, but then also sometimes, in order to build business, you need good credit. In order to
mhm,
apply for things in life, you need good credit. But you can gain them without having to get credit cards and all that stuff, even though it's a slower process. So it's a big component of what I talk about in my financial coaching courses, because it's a lot of confusion and misunderstanding, even the basics of how the interest rate operates and what that means when it comes to the amount of money that you're going to be paying, how your credit score affects those things. So that's what I mean when I say credit literacy.
mhm,
When we talk about any sort of literacy, it's education so that you can be fluent in that
mhm.
space, in that knowledge and understanding.
Yeah, that's really good because I just did a post recently, like,
Hmm.
you know, business numbers is the language of business. And
Yeah.
like you say, fluency, it's like we need to be able to speak the language that's being spoken to us and understand what those things
Yeah.
mean. So I love that.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
yeah, it's like we promised everybody that we're going to share 5 habits. So do you
Okay.
have some things that feel like are the best place to start, the most impactful, the things that people resist the most?
Okay. So I have my copy as well.
Awesome.
And so in the book, just for anybody who doesn't have it and is interested in getting it, in the book, every day is a focus on a new habit. And so what I was saying before, the construction of the book is, we're going to talk about the we're going to reconcile with the financial mistakes that we've made that cycle us, that keep holding us back. What I mean by cycle is we keep making them, even though we
Mhm.
know it was a mistake, and it keeps holding us back. And so that becomes a habit of intention. And that is one of our first words: intention, intentional. And so if you look in the book, it even explains what is a habit. That is one of the words. So you have a word for every day of focus, and then you also have some affirmations throughout the book that people are supposed to say every day. You're supposed to speak over your life.
Mhm.
Affirmations are big. I'll go ahead and tell you guys the affirmations that I focus on in the book are long term vision, because they're principles. So, long term vision, delayed gratification, the power of compounding, and even giving and stewardship. These are all, principles that lead to good habits. And so, intention is a habit, a focus. Okay, attention, affirmations. Those are great habits of
Awesome.
focus that you'll see in the book. And each one is something that you actually declare out of your mouth. So as you get through a component in the book, you affirm something new that covers the last section and then goes into the new section. And so you'll see throughout the whole book, affirming is actually a mindset tool that helps you to move forward towards success. The book itself is a journal, which is an amazing habit. Writing down the thoughts, the vision, the next steps, the goals. That is a good habit in order to gain success in any area of life. So, specifically finances. This is like a kind of like a retreat for yourself daily to really spend some time with you and your future at the same time. And for those who are like myself, even spend time with God. And this is your kind of sacred time to retreat and journal and speak and affirm about what you want, pray about what you want, and that leads to your future. So that is a good habit: writing, journaling, sitting down. Um, but some of the focus words that we talk about outside of intention is mindset. There's a big component on mindset. So, sitting regularly and assessing where you are versus where you want to be is an amazing tool. So, a habit then would be growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Focusing your intention on going from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And sometimes that's hard for people to go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. But if you make it a habit to do that, to really think about how can I be better every day, to not compare to anybody else, but to
Mhm.
beat the best version of myself that's showing up right now. So that's a habit. How can I beat the best version of myself? Loving me first,
Mhm.
appreciating who I am and all my authenticity first, but how can I move forward in order to be successful and grow even more? And then association. Who are you
Mhm.
around? Who are you hanging around? Are they broke? Are they broke, right? Are they broke mentally, spiritually, emotionally? But we're talking about financially. How will you grow in that setting? That's something to think about. That's something to focus on. A lot of the debt detox is personal development, personal assessment, right? So, how will you grow in a place that is the desert? It's possible, but there needs to be a source, right? There needs to be a
Mhm.
something that you can lean to, that you can look to. And association is key. So having a mentor, a coach, somebody to keep you accountable, those are all things that help with your habits to become daily intentions towards success. So I have so many habits, Mickey, that I could share because they're coupled with intention. So let's just say association,
Mhm.
praying, journaling, writing out your goal. We're doing a vision board event coming
Mhm.
up. And one of the things about that vision board event is that we're focusing on the execution, the building. And so that's important. So now you got association, you have community, you get
Mhm.
to network, connect, build relationships, but you also are writing out the vision. You're having somebody to help you to even think beyond your limitation, because sometimes we're stuck in one space in our mind, and we need somebody else to help us to grow and then build that thing out, so that you can become the master. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
You got a
like I
lot.
said, I
That's
could keep
wonderful.
going. There's so yeah, I mean, a habit of budgeting, a habit of saving, a habit of having a great mindset, about
Mhm.
budgeting and saving. So many habits,
Right.
Mickey.
Yeah. So I want to go
I
back
think
to
I gave you
one.
more than five. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it's like you gave us quite a bit to think about, but I want to go back to one thing, and then I want to ask another question. Kind of tying this together for a lot of our audience. So, one, when you talked about association, you talked about like who are the people you're hanging around,
Hmm.
and some of us, you ask, are they broke or spiritually,
Yeah,
mentally, financially, all of those things, and some of us may be able to answer yes. And
yeah.
so, how do we love the people that we are around, connected
Hmm.
to, and still get the support that we need to move, I don't know if beyond that is the right word,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
to move in a new direction that
Hmm.
we are being intentional about moving in, that someone else
Right.
may not be ready to go on that journey with us.
Right. The old saying, and you hear people say it all the time, and I'm going to use it in application to answering this question. In order to survive a plane crash that's going down where the oxygen is like leaving, there's chaos. They tell you to put the oxygen mask on you first, right? And you
Right.
can have your daughter, your son, your loved one sitting right beside you. But if you fall out because you can't breathe, you can't do anything for them,
Right.
right? So that's my advice in this situation. I have to put the oxygen mask on me first so that I can go back and help those in my community, my friends, those who are still struggling and trying to get over that mindset, not because I think I'm better, but because I know my capability. I can't focus on anybody else's, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
know my capability and what I want. And so I feel like it would be my responsibility to gain that information and those tools so I can pour back into others. Now it's their decision to determine what they want for themselves in their next step. But I got to put the oxygen mask on myself first.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we've got some great input here. So I just want to take a moment and share some of that. Lamara says, amazing, so many great nuggets. So we're
Hi, Lamaris. That's a pretty name.
yeah, it is beautiful. So thanks for being here. And then Mita says very impactful.
Hi,
So,
Mita
yeah,
Odasa.
it's
I
like
like that name too.
yes. We've got some very pretty names.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and Sheila earlier said that she couldn't hear us, so I hope that she can hear us because it sounds like everyone can hear us. So you may want to check your device. Sometimes we know that it doesn't always work as smoothly as we'd like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but hopefully that's the case. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's really something that we hear, but that we
Hmm.
kind of need to like lean into. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I do need to put my mask on first,
Yeah.
even though it feels counterintuitive. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, I need to save the world first, and then,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
We have to understand that, so my thought is this, because I think many people get caught up in um, this guilt around
Mm,
life. Even in our finances, how many people overspent for Christmas because of
mm,
some level of guilt, right? Like, I didn't get this, so as I get older and I have children, I'm going to make sure that I give them everything because I didn't get that bike that I wanted at 7. So I can't
mm,
afford it, but I'm going to buy John and Susie, or whatever the names are today. My daughter is Sophie, that bike, even though I really can't afford it and I didn't save for it. So emotions and guilt, which is our part of that, really motivate people. And they make a lot of mistakes as a result. And I think that's the same thing when it comes to not putting that oxygen mask on first.
mm,
You are willing to literally lose your breath completely in order to fulfill some level of what you think is responsibility to help somebody else, which is honorable, right? But if you're no longer here,
Right.
and you are the resource, you are the source, then what does that mean for all of those depending on you? And so
Mhm.
that was hard for me because I was a classic people pleaser, and I
Mhm.
was always ripping and running trying to serve everybody because of guilt, because of
Mhm.
an emotional lack. And once I went through so much personal development, through the years, um, that is why I am a personal development coach. Well, that's why that's inclusive in my financial development, because I realized financial behaviors are based a lot on emotion.
Mhm.
And so many emotions. So yeah, we got to put that oxygen mask on ourselves first
Right.
so we can move forward. Yeah. We
Yeah.
can have legacy just like the Rockefellers and all of
Mhm.
those folks. Like there are people out here who are capable, just the average Joe, I'll
Mhm.
say, who are way beyond average, but they don't realize it, and they just don't understand that that's a mindset that they
Mhm.
have to overcome. And once they overcome that, I'll say we, because I also have mindsets that I have to overcome. And once
Mhm.
I overcome them, then I can move to the next stage.
Right, right. Yeah, it's like just speaking of Christmas and, like I don't know if it was guilt or whatever it was, but I
Hmm.
remember one year, quite a few years ago actually, where I was looking at, some credit card statements and that type of thing. And it was, I guess, just past Christmas.
Hmm.
And I realized that some of the stuff that was on there was from the previous Christmas, not the one that just passed a few weeks ago, but the one
Hmm.
that passed a year and a few weeks ago.
Wow.
Like, never again. It's like like whatever I can get, I can get at that time, and whatever I
Hmm.
can't get, I'm not paying for it for the next 2, 3 years.
Right. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
remember layaway back in the day?
Now that was a really good thing that
Yes.
people downplay it and, kinda think it's like, "Oh, I don't wanna have layaway," but it's like,
Right.
you got it, it was yours.
And it was a reward. It was like I paid that layaway off, right?
Right.
So if we create accounts like that, and this is one of
Mhm,
the tips and habits that I would share, from a financial perspective, very specifically. If you
mhm,
have something that you want, create a fund that will compound, which I talked about as a principle, power of compounding,
mm,
that will compound so that you can lay away that reward that's coming down the road. And that's such a powerful thing. I remember going every 2 weeks or whatever the rotation was with my mom and paying on that layaway. And then when I got older, I stayed up in a Kmart or somewhere, paying for little things here and there, whoever would offer it, TJ Maxx and all those
mhm,
guys, Marshalls or
mhm,
whatever. And it was like a reward. It was like, hey, I finally paid this thing off and now I have it. And so
right.
anyway, that's back in the day. People are like, what? But creating that intentional lifestyle though, where
Mhm,
for Christmas, for instance, you have a Christmas fund where you're putting
mhm,
money into monthly from your check. It could be a small amount because what's going to happen is going to compound. And by Christmas time, well, you probably need to start shopping around, throughout the year. You can do
yeah,
that. You
mhm,
can have different goals per throughout the year. But say you're just going to wait till October, which a lot of people do, then you have a lot that has compounded and now you have a Christmas fund. And we can
mhm,
do that for all areas of our lives. So that's a great habit, you know.
beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now there's one more thing I wanna make sure we cover before we can wrap up. And that is, a lot of our audience are business owners. And
Mhm.
so, when you talk about like creating a budget, a lot of times we don't know what money is going to come in, when it's going to come in, all of those
Right.
kind of things. How do we, as independent contractors, as business owners, as aspiring business owners, even, thinking about, I'm at my job right now, but I know sometime this year I want to leave.
Mhm.
How do we start to make sense of what you're saying applies? Because I'm seeing it kind of in, like, oh, I have a W-2 job and every 2 weeks I know how much money I'm getting so I can budget. So how do
Mhm.
you help people who are independently uh,
Yeah.
working?
Well, we can all budget. I'll say that first, and that's a decision. So
Mm,
decisions are based on commitments. And if you have a
Mhm.
commitment to a decision, then you'll live it out. That's just anything you want to do. When you really make a decision and you make the commitment to live that thing out, then you'll do it. And so, one of the things I'll say, because I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years and I get it. One of the things that I always tell people is when you get a surplus, make sure to put the 10% aside for savings, that 10% aside for the emergency fund, because you won't always have that surplus. And now, as you're booming, and we know that there are seasons where you can be booming depending on what industry you're in, but I'll just speak to the hair industry since that's your audience. There are seasons where especially back in the day, I'm talking about back in the day, you knew that Easter, for instance, if you were serving a specific population, that you were going to be booked up, right?
Mhm.
You know
Mhm.
that maybe a Christmas, because there's going to be holiday parties and all that stuff. You're
Mhm.
going to be booked up. Wedding seasons. So anyway, when you have a surplus, you make sure to save regardless. You pay
Mhm.
yourself first. That's saving. All right, and then so that's a mindset. But then there's a budget called zero-based budget that we
Mhm.
talk about in the book too. And a lot of entrepreneurs like the zero based budget, and also a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs, because you're at zero at the end of the month. And so there's a way to finagle through, and in that, one of the things I'll tell people too, you don't have to live one budget for the rest of your life. So if you just start with one, you can move easily to others. There's the 50-30-20, the 70-20-10. There's so many different budgets that you could, and you can, kind of mix them together with what works for you. But a lot of entrepreneurs really like the zero based budget as I talk to people. And so that might be one they want to look at. But in all of it, you definitely, when you have a surplus, you want to make sure to act responsibly and put more to the side to sort of make up for the months that are slower.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Which makes 100% sense. And then you have, like you talk about the habits, and sometimes,
Yeah,
we can have the habit of going, "Wee," it's like, "I'm balling now." It's like, "Let me
I
go
got
get
some
X, Y,
money.
and Z."
Right. Like, oh, I deserve that. Oh, let's not get into that, because
Okay,
that's a
that
whole
is
long conversation.
definitely
The I deserve, oh, that will take us
right.
down a rabbit hole that later on you'll be like, man, what in the world did I just do? You know? So,
Yep. We definitely have that word in common because it's like I find when I put that in front of something, it's like it is a downhill, slippery slope. It's like,
yes.
okay.
Right. You better thank God for grace.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
so yeah, I just tell people, just really focus on the intention and the habits. And no matter if you're making, I was this really spoke to somebody at a workshop I just did recently, where I went and spoke, and it was a group of single mothers. And this one lady, she's been wanting to save. I didn't know this, and I said, you know what? Many people feel like they can't save, they can't budget because they're struggling. And what I say is, you have to pay yourself first. You have to love on you first. So if you only have $1 that you can put aside in a month, that's $1 that you did not put aside last month. Give yourself grace and celebrate you for saving that dollar. I'm not one of those coaches that know that doesn't understand that there is a process to getting to the 10%. You might have to start at 0.05%, and work your way to the 10%. But I'm going to be your biggest like advocate and your biggest celebrator and encourager once you get there. And it's a path.
Mhm.
It could be right away, it could be 6 months, it could be a year before you get to the 10%. And she said that freed her,
Yeah.
and that's all I want to do, help people to become free from the thoughts and things that keep them bound,
Mhm.
which is a part of that detox mindset to get over, so that you can actually see yourself going uphill.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that is so freeing because a lot of times, if we see something or hear something, it's like, "Oh, well, I can't do that whole thing, so I won't
Yeah,
even try." And
yeah,
so that just takes all the air out of that. It's like gives us permission, like you said, gives us grace to
yeah,
start where we are, wherever that is, and
Yeah,
make that first step.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That
So
blessed me.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So tell us how we can stay in touch with you and tell us how we can get a hold of this book, and
Hmm.
it's actually two books. So I'll share with you this one
Yeah.
with the actual book, and I'm trying to keep the glare off. And this one, tell us about this one. This is the notebook that goes with it.
Okay, so the notebook is just like the companion journal, and a lot of people like pretty things that are accessorized sort of together, and so in the classes and the win shops. Oh yeah, I call my workshops win shops because we
Mhm.
winning over here. Born to win,
All
Kimberly
right, you
Winborne.
winning.
Okay, I'm cheesy, y'all. Love me anyway. And so the notebook, I said, you see how it has where you can put your name in there? It's just
Mhm.
sort of like that accompaniment where you can write out thoughts, you can write out you can use it as scratch paper, but it's like $5 or something. It's not a lot, but it's just an accompaniment to the actual debt detox, which has the content. And so some people like that. So I created that so that for those who do, they can have the set. And I wanted this to be small, so it's something that I don't know if people who do like this with their books, and you see it like stuck in a bag or whatever. I wanted people to be able to do that, and so it's 30 days of powerful intention each day. um and so how you can get it is to go to kimberlywinbornllc.com. You can also go to Amazon and hit the debt detox. But on the first page of my website, kimberlywinbornllc.com, it takes you to Amazon. For anybody local that is coming to any of the event we have coming up, I'll have some on hand on January 13th, which at the events, I always give some sort of a deal or discount. We all love deals and discounts. So at the live events, I generally do that. And so at that event on January 13th, then you could also get it. But other than that, KimberlyWinbornLLC.com on Amazon, you can get the book and the notebook. And then
Okay.
to follow me, it's really easy. It's like Kimberly Winborn LLC everywhere on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. It's like Kimberly Wins LLC because they
Mhm.
wouldn't take my all of my characters. I don't know if that's changed since X. I have to go
Mhm.
see.
Okay.
But yeah, Kimberly Winborn LLC everywhere.
Okay, I think I finally got this so we can show it. And make sure I
Okay,
have it
yeah,
all spelled correctly. Okay,
it
so
is. Yep. And so then,
KimberlyWinbornLLC.com,
yep.
and you said Kimberly Winborn on pretty much all the socials.
Kimberly Winborn
And
LLC. Yes.
yeah, well, we
Make
are
it
actually
easy.
going. Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. So you and I are going to see each other in person soon.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
tell us about, about the women in financial empowerment,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. Tell us about that because we want to encourage everybody to join us on that page, and
Mhm.
also about our live events, and then we have virtual events. So,
Yeah. I'm really excited about that group. I had this vision like 2 years ago to collaborate with other women in finance. And so I had put out this post on social media. People started tagging folks like, yeah, you should connect with this person. You should connect with that. And so my idea is that in collaboration, there's no competition. And I prefer to collaborate instead of compete. And so that's what that's about. There are many women who have expertise and they love certain areas like accounting, for instance. I don't do accounting just because I'm in finance. And so but there's somebody who does. There are people who do stocks and bonds and things like that I don't do. And there are some people who do, like you do a business strategy, pricing matters,
funding. Yeah.
funding, capital. I thought it like paused. Am I
Yeah.
paused?
You are frozen, but we can hear you. So
Okay,
keep
great.
going.
So these are different things that other women in finance do that I can offer. We can offer together. And so women in financial literacy is the acronym is WIFE, WIFE. So women in financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and empowerment education. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
women in financial empowerment, education, and entrepreneurship. And so we had an event in September that was virtual. We had an event last July that was in person, a hands-on, a brunch. And then this event coming up will be hands-on vision building with a financial focus. And then we have an April financial literacy conference. And so, yeah, I'm excited. Anybody who's in finance or is interested in building financially, then they can join the group, Women in Financial Entrepreneurship or WIFE on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, it's like you're still frozen, but we can hear everything that you're saying, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But, it is very exciting. It's like we're going to have a brunch that will include, like you said, writing the vision and actually putting it into like a vision board, whether it's virtual vision board, something that you or digital is the word, digital vision board or something in person. And it looks like we lost Kimberly, but hopefully she'll be right back so we can close out. But if you are in the Raleigh Durham Triangle area, if you're nearby, in a few hours drive or what have you, and can get here, it's like we would love to see you in person. We had an amazing time at the last brunch. The food was delicious. So anybody who knows me knows I like good food, and and the women that are part of this group are phenomenal. And so we have Pam Bradford, who works with life insurance and really getting us straight for our financial future. And she is known as the Rich Auntie and and also Cash Coach Pam. And so she's going to be there. We've got the Finance Queen, Shiniere. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Ulasi. She will be there, and also Shavana Perkins, who wrote or who has the Bougie Wealth Group, which is phenomenal. And she has a book. I'm going to have her on so we can talk about the book as well. But really hope you can join us. And I'm so glad that Kimberly was able to share so much with us before something happened technically. But I'm glad that you're here. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. And I definitely look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. It's like we're doing this twice a month. So the first and the third Tuesdays, I'm here live at 1 p.m. for Your Pricing Matters. And we talk about all things that have to do with business, that have to do with your pricing, obviously, and with building confidence, especially for women and female entrepreneurs. Hi, Kimberly, you're back. Yay. I was just telling them how great the brunch was and everything, and that we will be doing the event live. And I've actually got one of my this is an old board that I put into like a folder binder thing so I could carry it around with me. And
Yeah.
it's like we'll be putting together our vision boards and preparing for a fabulous 2024. And then, of course, we've got the event coming up in April. So join us in the Facebook group so you can catch all the details. And we all share different things along the way as well, tips to help make your financial life better. No, we lost her. Oh, thank you so much, Lamara. It's like she said she loves these lives. So thank you. Thank you for joining us live. If you are not joining us live, and you may be catching this on a replay, it's like all of our replays are on my YouTube channel, which is Mickey Wright, and Mickey is just one K. Mikiwright, on YouTube. And also, if you are looking for six-figure training to become a six-figure business owner this year, I have a free training that is at mikiwright.com, and you can visit there and download it right away, have immediate access, and just share some really great things with you to move your business into six figures this year. Plus, we'll be doing some exciting things, have some exciting things coming up. So we are going to catch Kimberly before anything else happens.
I'm sorry. I hit the button.
Oh no.
Cell phones are harder than computers. You can
Right.
easily hit something and you're swiped away. So I hit a button. I'm so sorry. That was my fault. But yeah, I'm sorry, Mickey. I just want to say I'm very excited. And we also have vendors. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Nope, I didn't mention that. So yes,
Okay.
we'll have
Yeah.
amazing vendors actually.
Yeah, we also have vendors. So if anybody is looking to not only build your vision financially so this is a financial focus, so your financial vision, then you can also, especially as a business owner, you may want to be in the room to kind of feed two birds with one hand and join us as a vendor. And so we still have the tables enough to be able to fit you. So just
Okay.
wanted to share that as well. And they can reach out to you or myself to get the information as to how to be a vendor, or if
Okay.
you know someone, then let them know as well.
Absolutely. And I'm just um remembering we never really said the date and everything. So it is Saturday, January the 13th. So it's coming up in a few days, really. And also it's at 11 a.m. and it's
Yes.
at, tell us the event location.
It's in Nightdale at Ace Event Center. It's 7027 Nightdale Boulevard. It's not too far from, it's like a Food Lion in that area. And so you just go on, it's easy to get there. And that space is humongous too. So anybody looking for a Black owned facility to do events at, Ace Event Center in Nightdale.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I can't wait to see you there in person and
Yeah,
and
me too.
all of the other ladies I shared with them about their backgrounds and the things that they bring, and so we're super excited to do something live. So I feel like I'm going to be playing outside more this year. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
I'm
so
looking forward to it.
yeah, I just want to thank you so much for being here, for taking time out of your day and really sharing the debt detox with us because we it's like we want to be our best selves, and it's like when we're weighed down by debt and financial stuff, it can be really overwhelming, kind of shut us down, not have us presenting ourselves and showing up as our best selves. So I think it's such an important topic to talk about, and I hope everyone watching will go out and get the book, and definitely join us on the Facebook page, Women in Financial Entrepreneurship.
Right. Yeah. I just want to say thank you again, Mickey, for having me. And, to anybody that's watching, wealth is within your generation. Wealth is within your generation. You are so capable of achieving the thing that you never saw. You can be that person. So wealth is in within your hands.
Wow, that's a powerful affirmation for us to leave with. So thank you.
Amen.
Thank you for being here, Kimberly. Thank you everyone for joining us live. Thank you for everyone that's watching on the replay. We appreciate you. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. And we're going to continue this conversation on credit, and we're going to dive more into credit repair. What are the steps that you need to take to get that credit back on track if for some reason it's fallen off? And it's like a lot of us are still, recovering from COVID and, financing businesses and financing other things with, cars. We've got student loan debt and all that kind of good stuff. And so we're going to take a bit of a deep dive. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. And that is January the, why don't I know it off the top of my head? Should be 15th. I should know it off the top of my head. So January 16th, we'll see you then. So take great care, keep reaching for the stars, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.